Happy Spiritual Sunday to you all, and welcome to another opportunity to elevate our consciousness, to change the way we look at life, and therefore change the way we behave and change our life. And the more you and I change, the faster we will change the world collectively. So I want to share with you from Karen's book, as we've been doing each week. And this one, of course, because you and I understand everything. Everything is an exact cause and effect system. It's exactly orderly, even when we don't think we see order. But there was something called chaos theory that came out, years and years ago in science, that basically there's no such thing as randomness. That in a big enough picture, even what looked random becomes perceived as orderly, harmoniously. And for sure, you and I learn, if you're watching this, it's because you understand there's an exact law of cause and effect. And if it's cause and effect, there can be no randomness. The beauty of that, the way I look at it, is yes, it's difficult and not always comfortable to accept the difficult situations in our life or in the world around us. At the same time, if you have a moment of conscious, objective thought, if there's any part of this world, this universe, that a person truly believes is random, then there is no hope, no way that that person can have control over their life. Because even if they do good things, how could they be sure in a random universe that the good they do will come back to them? And also the opposite. If a person believes that some facet of the universe, the world, their life, operates in a random system, then how could they blame the bad things going on out there or in their own life on other people? Because a random universe, somebody could have been doing something good, but it came out in a random universe as something bad. So then there is number one, no accountability. There is, which might be a nice thing, so to speak, no ability to blame anybody else for the bad stuff in the world if it's random. But for me, the most fundamental power of holding the consciousness, everything is exactly cause and effect through this lifetime and over past lifetimes, gives us the ability to take control over our destiny. Just like your car. If your car worked randomly, you could be driving down the street, turn the wheel to the left, wanting to make a left turn, but here and there, the car would move to the right. And if you don't know how many times out of how many times it might go the opposite, why bother driving? Because a person would have no control. There'd be so many times, or here and there unexpectedly, car accident, going the wrong way, hitting something, whatever it might be. But you and I know the car works on exact cause and effect. To the extent you turn the wheel to the left, to that extent the car is going to move to the left. Whether just a little bit, 45 degrees, let's call it, 90 degrees, or 180 degrees, turning around. We live and depend on our cars working cause and effect. And so many other things in life. We depend on it. We're planning on it. And yet, unfortunately, when uncomfortable or bad things happen, individually or collectively, that AI program, the challenger, the opponent that we programmed when we left the endless world, immediately when those challenges, difficult situations come up, has trained us to basically point the finger at somebody else. They did it. They did it. Which means the person themselves has no responsibility, no accountability, and in essence, no control over their destiny from that moment forward. Have no control over which way their life will go, the path of the light or the path of chaos. They have no control because the other person or other people are in control of their life. So yes, it's not easy, it's not comfortable, but in the years I've been in the center, almost blended out 40 years now, it's been fundamentally the most powerful tool, consciousness, for me to be able to take greater control over the destiny that I will live. And the two choices, and the only two choices, the destiny of the darkness, greater chaos, pain, and suffering, or the path of the light, clarity, blessings, even, yes, seeing my next mistake that I've made somewhere, sometime, and being able to fix it. That's also the path of the light. We do not escape paying our spiritual debts by being on the path of the light. But we can pay it, as I call it and maybe shared with you, pennies on the dollar. Less than the path of judgment. So Karen writes like this: each person is a world unto himself, and every group extends their vibration outward. We extend our vibration to one another, to our communities, and to the whole world. Each and every action we take is like a prayer. Our actions are what will be passed on to the rest of the world. We can extend our energy outward to share, or heaven forbid, to harm. The choice is up to us. So, as we often talk about, when something happens, yes, it's still cause and effect, whatever, but the most important opportunity we have, once something happens, we learn from Kabbalah 1 forward how to take control over my action, my response, because my response to somebody's nice action, nice words, or bad actions, bad words, my response determines my destiny. I am in charge of my destiny. You are in charge of yours. And therefore, as Karen says, collectively, as we speak about often, the one unified soul internet. What we do impacts and affects every human being on earth. What they're doing can tend to affect us. And that's where you and I are learning here, Kabbalah Center, Spiritual Sunday, how to build a stronger and more extended protection shield of the light. And at the same time as we expand our protective shield of light, we are influencing every person on earth to have a spiritual awakening and begin to feel, one, the pain of their negative behaviors, and two, begin to feel the light and the influence of the light of their soul, and therefore act, as we're going to affirm and we do each Spiritual Sunday, with greater love, kindness, and compassion, generosity, humility, gratitude, appreciation, more light behaviors. And so on that note, let's say our affirmation together and to our next level up. As much as you've grown and elevated, we want to go even that next level till we achieve our 100% and we bring the world to its pure state of heaven on earth and unity. Together. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. And since we just entered into the new cosmic month of Sagittarius, which is Kabbalistically one of the most powerful months for miracles. So I wanted to share with you a new perspective, perhaps for many of you, or a reminder of the perspective, the understanding of miracles and true miracles. And so if I asked you, just think about it for a moment as we're starting here. What miracle would you like to have? Think of something in your life, some area, some situation, and you're saying this, oh, I need a miracle in that place. Think of what that miracle that you want is. And then ask yourself, why do you want that miracle? What does it do for you? What does it mean to you? And let's hold that thought for a moment as we start to challenge the usual perspective of miracles. Because most people would define a miracle as a supernatural event. Something supernatural, right? Car falls off the cliff, and even though it falls 1,000 feet, everybody in the car untouched. Wow, miracle, miracle. But I want to challenge that idea. I want to challenge that, unfortunately, brainwashed perspective of miracles. Because, unfortunately, especially for you and I, people who want to grow spiritually, want to do more, we tend to see more of the mistakes we've made. We tend to take ourselves to task a little more because we become more aware of our negative behavior and therefore awaken a greater sense of guilt. And related to miracles, maybe a certain perspective, even if it's a minor perspective, that you're not worthy of a miracle. So I wanted to start with this as we're going to change our perspective. So I'd like you to look at this. And like the question says, what do you see first? Do you see the various, whatever they are, pillars, almost look like chess pieces? Or do you see two pairs of people virtually head to head? Which do you see? What the Kabbalists teach us, and the Rav used to always emphasize, in essence, this is one image. But depending on how we look at it, will determine what we see. Because essentially you cannot see both. You either see the white parts, the pieces, the vases, the chess pieces, whatever you want to call them, or you see in the black the images of two pairs of people head to head. So again, it's one image, two different perspectives. And each of those perspectives has its own understanding, its own meaning to each of us. So the key is to realize in that one image, there are two different ways to perceive it. Meaning, if we look at ourselves, people, each person on earth also has two natures in the one being of the person themselves. We have a divine nature and we have a human nature. We have a soul that is a piece of the Creator, and we have the physical body that is our human aspect. And our future, our destiny depends on, in every moment, ideally, but certainly in every situation we come to, which nature we choose to express. We, as I read to you from Karen, we decide. Every situation, good or bad, challenging or not, we have the free will, the choice to behave from our human nature or from our divine nature. Our choice. And in simplest terms, even as we were saying before, that choice, if a person chooses to express their human nature, what we would call the reactive nature, the egotistical nature, then they have determined and turned their life down the path, instant gratification, but unfortunately more challenges, pain, suffering, and ultimately death. As we choose, proactive we call it, the divine nature, acting like the light, then we have directed our future down the path of light. Maybe initially uncomfortable actions of transformational sharing, but long term, greater clarity, blessings, peace, and less spiritual debt that has to be paid off, and therefore greater amounts of lasting fulfillment and blessings of health and peace and love and protection and all the good things. The word nes, the word miracle in Hebrew, in the ancient universal language of the soul, is the word nes. But nes doesn't just mean a miracle. It also means to elevate, to run away from, and elevate. And there are two ways to run. As we just said, there's run with our human nature, or there's run with our divine nature. There's run away from human nature into the divine, or run away from the divine nature into the human. A reminder, the light of the Creator is infinite. As much as we can say that, somewhere along the way of our day, we act as if we forgot that. Because if the light is infinite, first and foremost, there's nowhere for the light to go away from anyone or anything. Because the light being infinite, there's no empty space in which to move. So when people think that the Creator, God, the light force, is distant from them, it's not because the light can move away. It's because through negative reactive behavior, a person puts curtains, shells, mud covering them, and therefore they don't see the light. Not that the light went away. Our true nature is divine. We were created by the divinity of the Creator, pure light beings. We lack nothing. All we have to do is express. That's our free will. Express divine nature, our light, or, heaven forbid, the human nature. Now you go back to the miracle that you were thinking about. Now, with this perspective, most people are looking for human miracles, meaning of the physical material. Give me what I feel I lack. Give me what I want. And where does it come from? The outside. A person wants money, they want companionship, they want the car, they want the reward, they want the promotion, they want the acknowledgement, they want the adulation, whatever it is, the miracle. If that person would love me, whoo, miracle. If my boss acknowledged by a promotion or a raise how much effort I put into work, a miracle. We're looking from the outside to pull to us. Why? Because in the story of the Garden of Eden, and those of you who've been around, you understand, the Zohar explains, the 5 books of Moses is also true on a physical, material level. The bigger lesson for us is the spiritual technology that we can learn by learning from the Zohar and the Kabbalists what, if you will, to see through just the physical act to what universal spiritual laws were being used at that time. So when we came out of the endless world into what's called the Garden of Eden, a ethereal heaven on earth, an ethereal paradise, we came with free will. We also came with the AI program, that opponent that is there, that we created to put some resistance, to tempt us to seek to get rather than to share, which is the only reason we came out of the endless world, to be able to imitate the Creator by sharing our light 24/7. And many of you know the story. What happened? You and me, because we're all parts of Adam and Eve, one soul, we made the mistake to listen to the opponent, and we fragmented ourselves. We gave in to our human nature. We gave in to the desire to see oneself alone. And we ate, as it's called, of the tree of knowledge, good and evil. That should be a clue to us. The tree of life is perfection, seeing the perfection in everything. The tree of knowledge, good and evil, meaning, like we did with the illusion, there's 2 ways to look at this. Good and evil means good and bad, ups and downs, healthy, sick, love and hate, all of the chaotic aspects of the physical world. And therefore we created pain, suffering, and death by disconnecting from the light, covering ourselves in that spiritual mud, so our light didn't shine out 100%, and therefore in the darkness is all the chaos. Our spiritual work then is to express our divine nature all the time. When the human nature is triggered, something happens and you're feeling anger, hurt, fear, jealousy, greed. Pause and ask, which nature do you want to express? Our spiritual work and our only mission in this world for all human beings is just to shine our light from our heart and soul 24/7. And so this is why when we do our affirmation, we're acknowledging, I want to see the miracles and wonders. I want to express more of my divine nature. So I want to just give you a couple other things, different way to think of that, and to constantly work on thinking that, keeping that in your mind. First, the consciousness that the light fills your soul already. There's no emptiness in your soul. Maybe appearance of emptiness in your life, lack in your life, but not because the light isn't infinite and not because you don't have the light that could remove the cover of darkness and illuminate the health, peace, love, prosperity, clarity, guidance, support that you need to reveal more of your divine nature. And then the second part of that is, even without, let's call it without a reason, other than you want to be fulfilled 100% of the time, as much as you can think about it during the day, just a beam of light out of your heart and soul, out through the spiritual internet of one soul to every person on earth. From inside out, project more and more. The more light you're projecting from your heart and soul, from your reservoir of 100%, the more blessings you have. That is essential, as we all want to grow spiritually, to reveal our 100%, and to get rid of, to finish already, the chaos and the pain and the suffering and the divisiveness that exists in the world. The answers are already here. The light is available. The potential is within us, individually and collectively. We just have to express it. Now, just a little bit on the month of Sagittarius. Sagittarius, Kabbalistically, the symbol, even though you see the bow and arrow, what the Kabbalists explain, the month of Kislev, it's called, Aramaic, is the sign of Keshet. Keshet means a rainbow. When you go back to the story of Noah, God says, again, it's true and there's a spiritual code. But after the destruction of the entire world except for the ark, and Noah and the passengers in the ark, the Creator says, I will never again destroy the entire world, and the covenant or the contract will be the rainbow. But I want you and me to look at the idea of the rainbow differently. Because in essence, then, the Kabbalists are teaching us that when a person sees a rainbow, those 7 colors shining in the sky, in truth, it's a warning. It's a warning sign. The world has enough negative energy that it should be destroyed. But because of this event where the rainbow was manifest, let's say back at the time of Noah, the world was not destroyed. But what's the warning sign? And this is what I want to bring to your conscious awareness. When you see a rainbow, you see the 7 colors. What are those 7 colors? Those 7 colors are the fragmentation of white light. If you've ever looked at a prism, you put light through a prism, and what comes out the other side are the 7 colors. Meaning that in white light is the unity of red, orange, yellow, blue, green, blue, indigo, and violet. The 7 frequencies of those colors, when combined in unity, shines in what we call just white light. So the idea of the rainbow should help us when a person sees it. Yes, it's beautiful and we're attracted to it, but also remember that it's telling us the world is fragmented into those 7 analogous colors, whatever, economics, social, political, countries, religions, culture. Not that there shouldn't be those 7 colors. The 7 colors are included in the white light. Like in our body, we are one body individually, but we have all the various organs, heart, liver, kidney, brain, etc. So it's not that, we shouldn't have all those organs. No, they need to be in unity. And when they're in unity, you see a healthy, vital human being. When all the different aspects of humanity are in unity, not sameness, unity, then it's just the infinite light of the Creator shining. That's what we want to keep in mind. There's either fragmentation, human behavior, or there's unity, divine behavior. Because as Karen told us, we read in the beginning, each of us are a world to ourselves. So as we're shining pure light of the Creator out into the world, then our world is becoming more unified. We're beginning to see more and more of connecting the dots that before that additional light shining out of us, we saw them as separate. We didn't see the interconnection. Like with people, many of you have, I'm sure, have loved ones, even before you were learning Kabbalah, loved ones that you felt a true unity with, even though you were different people. Our spiritual work is to expand that, to see the unity not only of the hearts and souls of people on a spiritual level, but also to see the true unity, as we said in the beginning, of cause and effect. That is a sense of unity, meaning everything I do comes back to me, whether it's been in this lifetime or previous lifetimes. It comes back to me so I can assess it. Is it part of the mud, the covers, the curtains that I've created through negative behavior that I now want to remove by transformational sharing of love, kindness, generosity, compassion, gratitude, more light behaviors? That's my choice. That's my choice. I want to be unified. I want to see the unity of everything, not the fragmentation. So the bottom line of true miracles is what? To make the greater effort to see beyond your five senses. Think back to a moment in your life, maybe it was today, maybe it was yesterday, maybe it's been recent, maybe not. Whatever your memory serves you. A moment when you listen to your intuition, that voice, let's call it of your sixth sense, what we would now call the voice of your soul, that worked out. Wow, you were so happy you listened to the voice of your intuition because something good happened. If you go back and look at that situation, invariably, what started that situation? Five senses. You thought you knew what to do, where to go, how to go, whatever. You were on your path of the five senses based on all your past experiences, what you've done before, etc., etc. It's called the five sense voice of the human being. It's telling you to go a certain way. All of a sudden, boom, that voice of your sixth sense, the intuition comes in and says, basically, 99% of the time, do exactly the opposite of what your 1% told you to do. Your experience, your past history, etc. And when you did the opposite in that case of what you usually did, wow, a miracle occurred. A miracle. Why? Because the 1% is eternal illusion. Up and down, good and bad. The tree of knowledge, good and bad. We want to live from the tree of life, which is pure light, no matter what the human nature, the physical material world shows us. See beyond, like the optical illusion, or like we often talk about a magician show, right? He pulls the rabbit out of the hat. Did he really create a rabbit from nothing? Or he fooled our five senses? We all understand. And we're fascinated when it's a magic show. Wow, how did they do that? But we all understand that somehow or other, it's a trick that's tricking our five senses, so we don't know how. But then, when you find out, when you learn the trick that they did, then it all makes sense. Oh yeah, now I see. Whatever, there was a person curled, this and that. They put something that gave you the illusion of greater depth than there was. Whatever it might have been. There was a trick to trick your five senses that made it look like magic. You and I are understanding today that what we call a miracle, the true miracle is not magic, it's technology. Cause and effect. The more we act from our divine nature and shine more of our soul's light out into the world, the more of the illusion, the confusion, the chaos, and the difficulty disappears in the light of the Creator. Like the darkness in your house disappears in the face of the light from a light bulb, a light source in your house. So then the true miracle, seeing beyond the five senses, means what? Seeing the light, perceiving the light in everyone, everywhere, every situation, even the most challenging situations that a person can face. See the light. There are hundreds, probably thousands of Kabbalistic stories that we can learn from the great Kabbalists of those kinds of experiences where something that looked terrible, as the process continued, turned out to be great. Probably each of us have had something like that, something we thought was bad. And somehow a day later or some short time later, we realized that was good. It was a good thing that happened. The example that I generally talk about was one student years back, was on his way to work, had a minor car accident. The EMTs came, he had bumped his head, they were refusing to release him until he got an MRI, till he had a scan. He didn't want, of course, it's very uncomfortable. He wants to go to work, he wants to be able to continue with his day. Okay, a little dent in the car, they'll get that fixed. He felt okay, and they refused. He goes to the hospital, he gets his MRI, and the doctors find a tiny, tiny, tiny speck of brain cancer. So his first thought, and probably most of our thought, bad, car accident, turned out to be life-saving. So in the big picture, had he paused and made that effort to overcome the human reactive nature of, no, I just want to go, let me go on with my day, blah, 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 like that, and paused and said, no, if this is coming now, and I've been doing my spiritual work, I scan my Zohar, I do my prayers, Ana B'Koach, etc., then it has to be ultimately for my good. And he would have gone differently to the hospital. Yes, it would have been the same thing. He would have seen that spot. He would have added to appreciation of the light. So he would have gone to the hospital with more light because he paused and changed his perspective from a piece of the human physical five sense to revealing another piece of his true divine 100% light potential. And then when he saw the dot, he would have been even more grateful, had more appreciation, which Rav Ashlag, the founder of the center, reminds us is the capacity, is the expanded vessel for greater blessings. You have an 8-ounce cup, you can only receive 8 ounces of a drink. You expand that cup to 16 ounces by appreciation. Now, 16 ounces can fill it. How do we do this? As we tend to speak more about here in Spiritual Sunday, and I do more in the classes, the Zohar makes it clear that the heart is the seat of our soul, our pure light beingness. But it also says that the heart has eyes. So the stronger our desire to see the light everywhere, in everyone, in every situation, the more we have to open the eyes of our heart. Because as we open the eyes of our heart, we will begin to see the interconnectedness of everything. We will see that there's only one creator, one infinite light, of which we are all part. And therefore there is a part of that infinite light inside the flesh and blood of every human being on earth. As you open your heart, the eyes of your heart, you will see that. You will perceive it. You'll be able to act upon that. Wake up. I remember one of the first times I taught the healing class, way back in the early 90s. And I was asking Karen for some guidance, what to talk about or whatever. And in one of the meetings we had, she says, speak about the miracle of just waking up in the morning. We so don't appreciate, acknowledge in that moment we wake up, already just the blessing that we woke up. Think about it. Every day around the world, there are probably millions of people who don't wake up, that leave, the soul left at night. So just to wake up and be alive, we want to have that appreciation, that gratitude, see the miracle. Look around. There are miracles all the time, but we don't perceive it. We don't consider the miracles. Those of you that in this lifetime, let's call it a little more mature, you remember a time there were no cell phones. Cell phones or things like that were science fiction. So when they first came into being, I remember, wow, it's a miracle to be able to have a phone that I can carry with me everywhere, that I can speak to anyone around the world. And I can be called from anyone and anywhere around the world. Miraculous. How many of us today appreciate that miracle? No, now we just take it for granted. Have you ever been taken for granted by somebody? Feels really good, right? You did them a favor, you did something amazing. They, at that moment, were so grateful, and then slowly they forgot. They forgot, and ho-hum, you're always there, you're always around, they take you for granted. Or you may take other people for granted, or we take things for granted. Going back to the miracle, there was a situation years back. Somebody came in to make the morning connection with the Rav and the group, the community in Los Angeles, and runs up to the Rav and says, Rav, a miracle. What happened? He says he got in a car accident. The car turned over, rolled over, and he came out with not a scratch. And the Rav looked at him, he said, I had a bigger miracle. Man looks at the Rav, well, what was that? Like, what could be bigger than a car rolling over and being unscathed? And the Rav said, I drove here without an incident. That's the miracle you and I want to appreciate. The fact that you wake up in the morning, the fact that you go to the same job even, you have the same house, the same car, the same family, the same friends, etc. Sometimes, especially if you're making an effort to share, to apply the tools of the Zohar and the Kabbalah. Zohar, 72 names, Ana B'Koach, making your connections, connecting the new moon, especially also helping us to spread this, giving your tithing or charity to the center, spread the Zohar, bring people to come to this awareness, wake up the light inside them so that they can also take greater control over their destiny by acting with more divine nature than human nature. If you're making that effort day in and day out, you are paying your debt ahead of when the spiritual collector has to come. So sometimes the fact that you drive to work as usual or make your usual day, etc., that you think nothing changed, yes, you already took away maybe a car accident, maybe some bad health, maybe some relationship issues. If the bad disappeared, yes, then it's going to look the same. Like the Rav said, just drove to the center and back like usual. but realized it was a bigger miracle than the one where there had to be the car rolling over some damage and there was a miracle, right? It didn't show up as bad as people would have thought. So the greatest miracle, greatest, is for us to live our divinity, go back to our original nature. Sadly, we reversed it. We believe the miracle is when the physical world doesn't do what we would suppose the physical world does. The car falls, bam, people die. Whatever, person sick, die. All these terrible things. We say, oh, the miracle is when those things don't happen. No, it's not a miracle. It's our divine nature. Divine nature. So, yes, remember that you're filled with the infinite light of the Creator. The light fills all things. And I want to close with this idea. When you look in the mirror, do you see a miracle? Do you see someone who's been given the power of the Creator to be a miracle maker? But the true miracle is to turn human nature, the physical world, from chaos, pain, suffering, divisiveness, back into its original state. Peace, harmony, joy. The greatest miracle that you and I can achieve is when you look in your own eyes in the mirror, see the true divinity that's there. Because the more you will see the divinity in yourself, as opposed to your mistakes, etc. And I'm not saying ignore those, but awaken your greater focus, connection to the divinity, the light in you, then it will be just more simply, let's call it, the matter of shining light. You won't take yourself to task. You won't fall apart because of the mistakes you made, etc., etc. You won't beat yourself up. You'll see the divinity like in your house. You walk to the wall, you flip the light switch, darkness goes away. That's it. You walked into the room in the dark, bumped yourself on something, whatever. You can scream and yell and fight and all of that, or you go turn on the light, take away the illusion that brought the hurt, the difficulty, and now you can guide yourself more easily and without those problems. When you see more light in you, you can express more light. The more light you see in you, like attracts like, the law of affinity, the more you will be able to see the light in every person on earth, even the ones that meanwhile are acting in a very heavy, dense human nature, anger, jealousy, violence, etc. There's still divinity in them. The light is infinite. Our job, wake up and reveal more of our light, to wake up and reveal more light in other people, because it's already there. Take advantage of this month. Create the greatest miracle, returning to your original, pure and perfect light beingness. Transform every opportunity you can, preemptively or when a challenge happens and a button is pushed. Transform your human nature back to the divine. Let your light shine from your heart and soul as much as you can, day in, day out, to the heart and soul of every human being. That together we will collectively be able to return the world of pain and suffering and death back to its original divine nature. Love, peace, kindness, compassion, unconditional love forever, Garden of Eden for all. God bless. So, as I do every week, because I've learned from my teacher, the Rav, if you ever read Education of a Kabbalist, one of the greatest lessons that Rabbi Brandwein taught the Rav is to never forget the good that people do for you. Never forget. Like we talked about, don't take for granted. Appreciate. Because the more we appreciate, It's the expanded vessel to reveal more blessings. Also wakes up more light in other people, that they'll begin to also act more in their divine nature, appreciate more their divine nature and the good things other people do for them. So I want to appreciate and acknowledge those of you that have been regular contributors to the center. So I put the link there. Remember, anything you give goes to reach the heart and soul of every human being on earth unconditionally. We're spreading this wisdom. I believe this last year we had over 40,000 new people who were able to take the Kabbalah classes because of the generous donations, contributions of people like you and students around the world that gave to the scholarship fund. We were able to distribute over 1 million books of the Zohar because of the generosity of donors to the Zohar project. And as always, make sure you have this. Make sure that your friends, family, your kids, whatever, have it. And at least have the sacred Zohar, it's called, which is the entire Zohar in Aramaic. So you have the energy, and those of you who are making a greater commitment just to do the scanning, as we do our 72 names, the Aramaic letters shine light. As you're scanning, eyes are the windows to the soul. It wakes up the light of the Creator inside us. And as we're then projecting it out, like we'll do here in a moment, with the 72 name, it's awakening more of the light inside people. And as one of the students put very succinctly, it's turning down the voice of the opponent in our heads and turning louder the voice of our soul in our heads. And the more that you and I and every person on earth will hear the voice of our soul louder than the voice of the opponent, then the more our actions will be transformed from previous reactive, egotistical, self-centered behaviors to more sharing, divine, expressive of the light, manifesting more of our light, taking away more of the pain, suffering, and death, the chaos and the darkness in the world, that will allow more people to perceive the reality of the infinite light, the cause and effect of everything they've ever experienced, and therefore also make use of the cause and effect to be more sharing, more proactive, more expressing and emanating their light, rather than trying to get and take from others, which only creates divisiveness, which only creates chaos. So I appreciate it. Those of you that something touched your soul, even most fundamentally, if you are receiving any blessing, any awareness, any new inspiration from what you hear here, what you learn here on Spiritual Sunday, or you learn from the center, give back, pay it forward. Help us remove all the pain and suffering from the world. So let's do our meditation. This is one of the 72 names. I'm sure most of you are familiar with it. Each Aramaic letter is a photon, if you will, a particle of the light of the Creator. It's a conduit that lets the light of the Creator shine in a unique frequency. So this is SAMECH Yud Tet. And this combination of frequencies of the light of the Creator awakens miracles. And as we've said today, the greatest miracle is waking up the light, acknowledging we are all pure and perfect beings of light. We're already filled with the light. The infinite light of the Creator infinitely fills the universe. Infinite blessings are waiting to be revealed and manifest by every human being on earth. And we want to also include the miracle of sending so much light together and continuing from this moment forward to the heart and soul of every human being on earth, that miraculously as the 1% might say, people who are doing bad things from minor to major will have a spiritual awakening, an awareness of true miracles, of their divinity, and behave more and more quickly as the peace of the Creator in them, greater love, kindness, compassion to all. So, Samech Yud Tet, just let the shapes be engraved in your mind's eye, and we'll start our meditation. Sitting comfortably in your seat, hands on your lap, feet flat on the floor, relaxing yourself, opening up your channels, opening your vessel to be a conduit of light, breathing in through the nose, hold the breath for the moment, exhale through your mouth. Breathing in through the nose, hold the breath for a moment, and exhale through your mouth. Allowing the light of the Creator that is in the air to activate more light within you as you exhale, releasing whatever confusion, stress, tension you may be feeling, have been feeling in the moment. Allowing yourself to rest into the embrace of the infinite light. Feel in and around you the warmth of unconditional love that fills our universe 24/7. That is our true nature. With each breath, enhancing the light that's awakened in you, your awareness, and increased desire to be a stronger beacon of light, a true miracle maker in the world. So, returning to your normal breathing, together we envision Samech Yud Tet above our heads. Seeing the infinite light shining through these combinations, Samech Yud Tet, the power of miracles, revealing true miracles of our divine nature, elevating our consciousness beyond the 1%, beyond any sense of confusion, hurt, lack, limitation. And together let Samech Yud Tet shining this beautiful, infinite, warm light. Let it enter through the top of your head. Feel its warmth, this pure light, unconditional love, the light of the Creator, of miracles. They return to our true divine nature, feeling the power of heaven on earth, the true state of the Garden of Eden, paradise. Let the Samech Yud Tet travel from head to toe within you, activating your divine nature, your miraculous nature that is your divine existence and birthright. Perceive the darkness going away, the veils being removed, so that you see, feel more of your divinity, more of this divine light. within you. Appreciating, acknowledging the greater light awakened, experienced within you. Pay attention to the voice of your soul that's speaking to you more loudly and clearly, over and above the voice of your opponent. The voice of your soul, giving you guidance, strength, clarity, how to act, what to say and do, to remove the spiritual mud, the curtains that hide your perfection of your divine nature, and allowing that projection of that light from your heart and soul, making greater openings in the eyes of your heart to see the divinity in you and see the divinity in others. SAMECH Yud Tet. And together let's take a beam of light, SAMECH Yud Tet, from our heart and soul, and shine it out to the heart and soul of all your family and friends. See it activating the light inside them, opening the eyes of their heart. Feel that they are having this awakening, a greater awareness of the power of the Creator in them to create the miracle of the human nature to the divine nature, all forms of chaos and darkness into pure, revealed light and blessing. Realize how much chaos, fragmentation you're taking away, and allowing unity, peace, and harmony to be revealed and manifest. And then let's continue that beam of light from their hearts and soul out to the heart and soul of every human being on earth. Every human being on earth, unconditionally, without exception, activating the complete vessel, soul, that we are each a part of, that is the pure creation of the infinite light, the Creator. SAMECH Yud Tet, awakening, activating, supporting every person on earth to behave more light-like, more acts of sharing, kindness, forgiveness, love, tolerance, appreciation. Take note how you are already feeling a greater sense of certainty, peace, and serenity as the light channels more powerfully through you. ask and listen to the answer of your soul for guidance in the areas you have confusion, uncertainty. The answer is there, is coming through you as you're channeling the light out. SAMECH Yud Tet to the heart and soul of every person on earth. And therefore, every answer you and I need being channeled through us. And in this unified support, each of us hearing more clearly, more distinctly, the answer of our soul. And together, we bring ourselves back into the physical, material world with this greater awakening, greater activation of our soul's light, and greater commitment to behave as the light throughout our day, in every way, in all situations, towards all people. So together we take one more deep breath, anchoring this consciousness to our heart and soul, and slowly exhale and open your eyes. Thank you all for joining us today. Please remember to share this in a few minutes after we finish. Just push the share button, share it out with everybody. In a day or two, it'll be on the Spiritual Sunday YouTube page, so you can share that for people who may not be on Facebook. And just remember every moment the miracles that the light is shining on us, that the light in us is infinitely available. It's already supplied us with everything we could ever need to have total and absolute fulfillment. We just need to use our free will, shine that light out with a conscious thought from our heart and soul through the spiritual internet to every person on earth. Have an amazing evening, day, and a wonderful week, and a great month of Sagittarius. Until we see each other again, God bless.